All right, y'all, we are talking trial reels today. I've been getting so many questions. And again, I see a lot of people saying like, I cracked the code. Let me tell you, I will be sharing the code because I've cracked it too, but it's not the same code for everyone. Let me explain. So I've been playing around with trial reels since they came out. And to be honest, most of mine, I mean, just like you, most of mine are complete trash. Like it's a joke, literally 200 views. Like that, absolutely no sense. What Instagram will do with that reel, once you press post, is it will, so here's what exactly it says, what Instagram says. In feed and reels, your reel will only be shown to non-followers at first and won't appear on your profile. If it performs well, you can choose to automatically share it. Now, let me tell you one thing real quick. Every time I've done a trial reel and it does well, I still don't share it to everyone, to my following. I just let it ride in whatever algorithm they're or whoever they're throwing it to. If it does well, like mine today, I had one do well last night in trial reels. So I wanted to test that a bunch before recording. It did well. So now I just put it separately on mine. So this is what I want you to do. This is a fun little hack. When you create your reel, save it to drafts, go to your drafts. There's 3 little dots and you can literally tap duplicate. Tap duplicate. Share one to trial reels, share the other to your feed. Or if there is one that you really did want to test and make sure it's good, send it out to trial reels, give it a few days, see how it does. And then if it, gains some traction because you want to test it, you've already got the duplicate in there and you just share it. So that's what I did last night. I made a duplicate and it did really well overnight. So I now shared it to my feed separate. That way you just let the trial reels go, let them be on their own journey and you create stuff and put on your feed that you want. So this is the code that I've cracked, quote unquote. What does best for me and for almost everyone I've spoken to about trial reels is storytelling, which, duh, but really almost like I've done these hooks a lot in this podcast, the reels with the hooks and the on-screen text that basically tell people what your account is about, what the vibe is, what you share. Consider it almost like an ad. If you were to walk up to someone or an elevator pitch, like, what is it that your account is? So those reels are like, congratulations, you just found the account that and you say what it is. But again, you want to get specific, not just the girl who shares Amazon finds. Who cares? For who? What body type, right? You just found the interior designer who isn't afraid to right? You want to really make sure you're using that copy and we talk about this in a lot of podcast episodes. So listen to those if you're new to the podcast. So what I found that worked for me was content that really is like, this is what I share over here. Hello. That is the code. So that's going to look different for everybody though. And some of mine have gone viral. Some have not really done much. This is the code, ready? This is the actual code. One, you want to kind of create those reels that basically tell people what your account is about. So they immediately are like, need this account in my life. But the code is this. Once you find the one that works, do it over and over and over again. Once mine went viral, I've done 6 different versions of it. They've all done really, really well. And what does well for me is when I share the trending audio and hooks and I basically say, hi, this is my account. I'm Shannon. This is what I do over here. The caption tells them all about me, what my vibe is, what my core values are, and they lead to followers. So reels on trial reels that did trash for me. I'll tell you, my lists, I did one about like 5 things I do because I'm actually testing this out to see if I want to share it on my feed. The hook is 5 things I do before I press record to make my videos look more professional. And I have a list. Didn't do that great. Got some traction, close to 1,000 views. And then of course, like I said, the ones that are like, hi, POV, you're looking for this and you find my account. Those are what tend to do best. And they do well on feed too. So with that said, let's say you have a reel that went viral. That doesn't mean it's going to go viral on trials. It's totally different. And just be very clear about what your account is and what the vibe is. So again, while there's no official code, what it is test a bunch out. Once you get that one that does well, do it again. You don't have to reinvent the wheel or the reel. So that is what I have found. And again, depending on your account, it could be a vulnerable story that goes crazy. Share it again. It could be a tip that goes nuts. Share it again. It could be a fun hack. It could be something humorous. Share it again. I've shared some funny ones that have actually done pretty well. Even ones outside my niche, just about like whatever, something funny with like, you guys know I love to share my public subs and stuff like that. I just did one of those the other day on trials and got a few followers. I was like, sure, they like the vibe over here. We like to have fun. I don't want to put too much pressure. I have heard so many people go, oh, I tried it on trials and it didn't do well. I'm like, that's a given. Just throw them out there, detach yourself from the outcome. It's literally a test. It is a test. And it's also a test of the algorithm because you don't know what non-followers they're showing it to, right? I also had someone in the Reels lab who took one of the prompts for the week and was like, I tried both of these in trials. And I was like, no. Yeah, put them in trials. That's fine. But put them on your feed. We already know your people are going to like it. Trials are more so just to take whatever, again, to figure out the one type of content that for some reason it goes crazy for your account and do it again and again and again. And once she finds it, I'll be like, create 10 more, just like it. That's what I've been doing. I'm sure you'll hear other advice. Take it. Again, there's no official code, but that's the code I have found. And I'm pretty sure it'll work for you. But also, I would love to hear back from you. I'd love to hear what you have found. If you're on YouTube, leave a comment. You guys, if you're on my email list, just reply back. I'm going to do a whole email about this too. I find them fun. I'm a nerd and I find this exciting. So instead of going, oh, my trial failed, look at it as like, all right, let's try another one. I've seen people saying they're doing like 100 at a time. I wouldn't do all that. I do like 4 or 5 a day. And again, they're kind of range from different. And one that does well, I'll do maybe 5 of those in tiny different versions just to see what does better. So I would stick with almost an intro post, like a POV. You're a millennial mom who's tired of blah, 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 and you find our account. You're in charge of XYZ and not sure what to da-da-da, and you find my account. Basically saying, hello, again, you're an ad. Are you tired of? Are you someone who? And just lay it all out there. Throw a bunch of them out there, see what sticks. Once one sticks, repeat it again. You can do a new sound. And again, use the right trending audios, things like that. And make sure the caption really encourages a follow. I would even start my caption with follow for more, blah, blah, blah. And I'll just let you know, the one I shared last night, so it hasn't even been 12 hours. It's actually a prompt in the Reels lab, and I have it all customized for all of them. So I can't wait to hear what it does for them. But it's just a simple, I put you've been, and you're going to put what's the action they've been doing for months, weeks, whatever it is. So I put you've been posting Reels for months, still getting, what are the results they're still getting? Low views, I put. And no one told you blank. So you could say, you've been counting your calories for months and still can't lose the weight, and no one told you about this, blah, 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 whatever it is. It could be hyper local. Like you're on a mission to find the best coffee in North Carolina, still finding yourself disappointed because no one told you about our coffee shop in Wilmington. There's so many ways you could do this. You could do, you've been house hunting in Portland for months, still can't find the right, whatever it is, condo, whatever it is, because no one told you about my listing in blank. That could be a cool one to try in Reels, in trials, but also on your feed. So this is your job. This is your assignment. Create your Reels that are kind of POV, describe who they are, a millennial, a minimalist wannabe, a newbie content creator, whatever it is, right? Looking for whatever it is or tired of whatever it is, and you find my account. Do that, maybe do 3 or 4 different versions. Throw it out there with just B-roll and a simple text. Leave that text up for as long as it takes to read, probably about 4 or 5 seconds. Do some trending audio in the caption, explain who you are, what you're about, what the vibe is, etc. And then wrap it up. And actually, if you listen to the podcast before this one from last week, I talk all about this prompt. So go there, listen to that, do that prompt, and do maybe 4 or 5 different versions. Throw them up on trial Reels. Give them a full 24 hours. Don't lose faith. In addition, grab a couple Reels of yours that have done well in the past and just throw them up on trial Reels for S and giggles, and just put a bunch out there and just see what sticks. Once that one sticks, do it again and again and again. But again, do not forget, once you put it up, save it as a draft, go to drafts and duplicate. That way you're not having to recreate it every time. All right, you've got this. Do not get frustrated. Trial Reels are a gift and not something to have a really crazy strategy around. Just test things out, find the one that sticks. That is the code. That is the code that we have cracked together. Love you, friend. I'll talk to you next week. Mwah.